Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here. It is Wednesday, March the 27th, 2024. As you can see, I got a light today, so you can see me. I'm no longer in witness protection. It's good to be back, guys. I think we have everything in order now, doing the show here in my home office, and we're going to get everything back to normal. I'm glad to say it. All right, before I get rolling, though, let me take a half a second. Welcome everybody to the show as I do every day. We appreciate you guys being here. You guys, your comments in the chats, especially the comments on the videos later, man. You guys are just the best. It makes me laugh every day. I appreciate you guys, actually participating in the show. It means the world to us. All right, anyway, let's talk about these markets today. Well, the market kind of, is as crazy as it sounds, the market just rolling forward with this idea that we're going to get all these rate cuts this year. Market's going crazy today. Look at these numbers. The Dow Jones up 477 points, now sitting at 39,760, going to break 40,000 any minute, it looks like. The NASDAQ up 83 points, 16,399. And the S&P 500, well, that's up 44 points today, 5,248, another new record for the S&P 500. Guys, it's crazy to me. I think the market's just a little bit ahead of itself with this idea that we're going to get all these rate cuts and everything's going to go perfectly. When has it ever? Ever? Never. I was reading an article today, made me laugh. The guy said, every time you hear the word soft landing, no. Every time the S&P breaks the record, no. Big corrections typically coming. So we'll see how this all plays out. I know I've been wrong so far. I've been pretty bearish on these markets. Well, so far the market's been kicking my butt a little bit. Although the way we do our business here and the way we've taught you guys to do it, you still have pretty good exposure to the market. You're investing conservatively, but the market dragging everything up. So most of the people who've been following our advice are doing very well with their stocks. And we're never advise anybody to get out of the market completely, just to invest cautiously. Anyway, so stocks, crazy times, breaking records. Bonds, how did the bond market look today? Well, bonds rallied. So the 10-year falls 4 basis points, now sitting at 4.19%. The 2-year falls 2 basis points, 4.57%. So we still have the inversion, which is another day, another record. They don't talk about that record as much as they talk about the S&P, right? But the bond market feeling like, I guess, rates are peaking here. I don't know. I got my doubts about that. The dollar today up very small, just a few basis points, 104.32 on the dollar index. Precious metals had a little bit of a rally today in spite of a strong dollar. Gold rallies $14, $2,193.50. You're going to see gold at $2,200 any second now. Silver rallies up a little bit today, up 17 cents, sitting at $24.67. Having some difficulty consolidating above 25 bucks. I think we'll see it again. Hopefully we'll do a little bit better. But even still, a very small correction like this, after getting to that level, not a big shock. And I think, you're still going to see silver has a long way to run. Oil today rallies up a little bit, very small though, up 9 cents per barrel. Barrel of West Texas Intermediate sitting at $81.71. Still too high for our liking, higher than what we estimate where oil should be trading. It kind of looks like it's weakening out in this big rally now. We'll see if the decline sets in and where it ends up landing. Bitcoin today sells off a little bit, down $864, sitting at $68,711. Still a good, strong number for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been the thing, I guess, in the comments section of the videos that has been really sparking some responses from our viewers to the good or to the bad. The non-believers certainly believing this is a big hoax and reminiscent of the tulip mania. the believers and the people who seem to know a little more about this stuff, the younger people who are really into blockchain and understand how it works, super bulls. And I've seen some of the craziest estimates for Bitcoin, ranging from it's complete bullshit and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be, it's going to end up like the tulip mania, to people on Wall Street, sensible people, talking about seeing Bitcoin in $1 million or $2 million. Crazy times. All right, so let's talk about the news you need today. Some interesting stuff happening. I wanted to talk about this a couple of days ago, but it looks like Visa and MasterCard finally going to have to pay the piper for their gouging. They had to settle an antitrust lawsuit brought by the government. Looks like they've agreed to reduce their swipe fees. Now, what that means is when you go use a credit card at a merchant, you're going to buy a pair of jeans. You swipe your card, Visa and MasterCard take 4% right off the top from the merchant. Then they charge you 30% interest on that purchase. A little greedy, maybe, right? But, the business community will say that's just doing business and maximizing profits. But apparently you can't just do what they've been doing, where they have such a huge percentage of the market and they now control it, where, basically merchants are forced to pay this fee because you got to have access to Visa and MasterCard. That's how people spend money these days, right? Now, they said that this settlement will save consumers roughly $30 billion over the next 5 years. These greedy corporations, I love these guys, man. Imagine that. $30 billion is what they agreed to give up. Now, here's the best part of the settlement, okay? So they've been charging, say, 4%, which is 400 basis points. They agreed to lower the fee by between 4 and 7 basis points. So they're still going to get the vast, vast, vast majority of what they've been charging. And if just 4 or 7 basis points adds up to $30 billion over the next 5 years, what does that 4% add up to? It's got to be some kind of giant, colossal freaking number, right? But, they're talking about how this is going to save consumers money. Again, with just bullshit, because all it's going to do you think that the merchant is going to pass that savings along to the customer, really? Because I'm telling you, they're not. It's just going to pad their margins, is all it's going to do. Interesting times, guys. But at least a little bit of relief and a little bit of the idea of, and I'm not a big guy on government intervention, especially on business. But when businesses can run amok like they have and do the things that they do, well, it might be time for the government to get in there and kind of at least create the idea that businesses aren't out to gouge every single person for profit. And don't get me wrong, I'm as capitalist as anybody, guys. I really am. But when you see what's been happening in our country, the way corporations now are based. Oh, by the way, I got my feedback today, so I can actually see myself. I can see that you can see me today, unlike yesterday's show. But at least the government trying to do something to protect consumers from some of this greedy stuff corporations are doing. The FTC, another government agency, going after large retailers for exploiting the giant price hikes on food to pad their profits. Companies like Amazon, Kroger, all the big grocery chains, the people that sell groceries, all been taking advantage of consumers. Their prices go up 2%, they raise prices 10%. Well, I understand that businesses have to make a profit, but you really want to hurt your customers when they're already hurting to pad your profits? Really? Used to be businesses had a little bit of a heart, a little bit of a caring about the community they sell their product in. Those days long, long, long gone. All the big grocers are involved in this. The SEC, or the FTC, says it warrants further inquiry. Further inquiry, meaning they're probably not going to do jack, except shake things up a little bit. Nothing else. Maybe it slows the rate of this greedflation, where corporations have just been, shrinking product, charging the same, or just completely exploiting it and raising prices nilly-willy because they can, right? All right. Anyway, so the government, there's our story today. Basically, the government kind of cracking down on corporations, not in any kind of major way, not overhandedly, not hurting their businesses. They're trying to level the playing field a little bit for consumers where, they're not just the donkey on everything, right? All right. A couple of quick hitters before we get going today. U.S. oil inventory up 3.2 million barrels over the past month. So I'm surprised that didn't show up in the oil price today. I guess the government buying back oil, filling the strategic petroleum reserve again. Nice to see oil inventories rising. Hopefully that gives us a little bit of a break at the pump here because gas prices have been doing nothing but going up. Interestingly, Wall Street real estate investing. I've been ranting about this for a long time on the show. Listen to this, guys. Wall Street firms snapped up over 25% of affordable housing in the first quarter. Now, when I say affordable housing, I'm talking about the bottom of the market, the houses that are typically bought by first-time home buyers, people getting started in their real estate, buying a house to live in with their families. Well, this kind of corporate buying is, as I've been ranting about, is blowing first-time buyers out of the market. There's just not much of a chance for them to buy a house anymore. And we can see now why. More than 25% of the affordable housing snapped up by investors. Did you see this bridge collapse? It was all over the TV yesterday. The craziest thing I ever saw. A giant tanker hits one of the pylons on this bridge in Baltimore, and the Scott Key Bridge, and down comes the bridge. Well, now it's like already they're trying to figure out how can they profit off of this. So now they're talking about supply chain issues coming up. They're talking about this is what this is, guys, is just another bullshit excuse to try to raise prices on everybody again. I call BS on this totally. I got a feeling that now you got the federal government promising to do all what they got to do to get this in order. I don't see this really going to be a super long-term thing. I'm guessing they're going to get the debris in this bridge out of the way while they rebuild it, and they'll open that corridor, or they'll find alternatives to it. But corporations already looking to find a way to profit on it. The Buffett indicator, have you guys seen this? Well, this is really clever. What Buffett does, now the Buffett indicator is flashing red. Woo, 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 oh my God, time for a sell-off. Buffett indicator, what they do is they take the value of all the stocks on the Russell 5000. They divide by GDP. If the number is 100 or less, that means stocks are a good deal. Stocks are a bargain. 70 is really good bargain. A price of 200 on that indicator means, oh my God, a correction is coming. Flashing red as that number today sits at 190. So be careful, guys. There could be a sell-off coming on this Buffett indicator, right? Another interesting thing, not have anything to do with finance, though. I was reading that first human transplant of a genetically modified pig kidney was implanted into a human being. And the human's doing well. No signs of rejection. Actually looked like he was going to get to go home pretty quick. So what the medical community is trying to do, because they have such a shortage of organs and so many people needing kidneys and livers and hearts and even lungs and eyes and everything else, they're actually now genetically modifying pig organs to create a way to transplant those organs into human beings. Now, I'm not so sure about the ethics of all of this, and if I would be really keen to have a pig kidney in my body. But I guess it's better than the alternative, right? And I thought that was fascinating, the advances. I got to tell you guys, it won't be long before they're going to be able to grow human organs organically in the laboratory to transplant into patients that need them, coming soon. And lastly, before we wrap it today, Friday is going to be a huge day, guys. The markets are going to be closed. It's Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. So the stock market will be closed. The bond market will be closing early, 11 a.m. So we're not going to have much of stock stuff to report on. But we're going to get the PCE numbers that day. We're going to get consumer spending that day. We're going to get consumer income that day. Big reports. They're dumping on a Friday with the market closed naturally, right? We're going to do a show on Friday anyway, even though the markets are closed. Nothing more than to discuss those numbers coming out. Okay. And one last thing. Yesterday, one of the viewers was talking about some story he wanted me to read. I hope he's watching the show today. The Mike Gill story or something of that effect. Send me a message on the video portion, because these messages that we do here, they don't, once the live cast is over, that's it. They go away. Hit me up in the comments when I research that story and see if there's anything really to it and report on it on the show. Anyway, guys, that's it for the day. As always, we appreciate your support. You guys being here means the world to us. Don't forget, if you can, please hit the like button. It changes the algorithms around, gets our video in front of a few more people. Tell your friends about the show. Let's do what we can to start building up some new viewers. We're going to still make changes to the show. Changes been happening, just not for the positive lately. But we're going to keep moving forward. We're glad you're here with us. We'll be back tomorrow to bring you guys the news you need. Until then, guys, take care and thanks.